If you are after big, bouncy, voluminous hair with that root volume and width and body, then I'm going to show you the exact products that you need to buy and purchase. I'm a hairstylist. I've been using so many products for so many years now, and these are my top favorite ones. So I'm going to show you A, not only the products that I love, but B, how you're going to apply them and in what sequence. So let's get into it. Hi and welcome back to my channel, or hello and welcome if you are brand new here. My name is Chloe Swift. I'm a professional hairstylist and hair care expert, and yeah, as I say, I have tried so many products over the years, and I completely understand how frustrating it can be when you've purchased a hair product, because hair products aren't cheap, especially if you're getting more of a professional brand. And I understand how frustrating it is if you buy a product and it's just not quite right for your hair type. So pretty much all these products have not only been tested on my own hair, but tested on other people's hair, clients' hair, models' hair. So I have got a very good idea about what works, kind of how it feels in the hair, how it performs. Yeah, I'm going to run you through just my favorite products to achieve volume, width, body, and bounce when we are wanting big, bouncy, voluminous hair. First products we're going to look at are thickening blow dry creams. So we're talking about something that you're popping on the mid-lengths and ends. Let me actually just unclip my hair a second. So something we're popping here downwards. Grab your hair in a ponytail. We're talking like here downwards, and it's actually going to plump up your hair and just make each hair strand, each hair fiber kind of almost like just double in size a little bit. So that's going to give you that width and the body, because I don't know about you, but definitely I get sometimes, and especially on like finer head clients or models that I'm working on, sometimes you can achieve the root volume up here, but you know when the hair isn't naturally super thick down here, and not many people's hair is naturally super thick and full down to the ends. And by the way, that's completely normal because your hair grows at different rates all throughout the head. So you're going to have a lot of short strands throughout your hair. Some of them might be here, some of them might be here, and never at one point in your life will every single hair on your head reach down to the bottom of your length. I think that's a very important point to note, because if that were to happen, if every single strand was this length, so if they were all the longest points of my hair, that means they're all at the same point in the growth cycle, and guess what? You are literally going to shed and lose them all at the exact same time. So do not worry if your hair is just finer and thinner on the ends. That is completely normal. But what we want to do is, when we're going for these styles, we want to avoid that kind of thin, straggly feeling you can get with the ends. So that's where a plumping, kind of bodifying cream comes really in handy. So these are some of my absolute favorites. We'll start off with the Virtue Flourish. This is the thickening styling treatment. So you can actually see it's quite well loved, this packaging. I love this product. I think it's amazing. It smells amazing. It smells like, yeah, it's quite lemony, and I will show you the consistency. So if I were applying this one, that's why the packaging is quite well used, because you have to give it a really good squeeze to get it out. If I were applying this into my hair, and just for reference, my hair is fine strands individually, but overall it's like a medium density, but it's very porous. So porous meaning, imagine like a sponge. Porous hair absorbs a lot of product. So if your hair isn't quite as porous, so sometimes if you feel like your hair can feel a bit heavy and weighed down with product, perhaps your hair isn't as porous as mine. But on my hair, for example, I would probably apply about that much cream into my hair. And to apply creams like this, you want to literally just rub it in between your two hands, and then that's quite nice because it distributes it, one on one side, one on the other. And I would literally just grab that in one side, grab that in the other. Shall I pop this one in first? I want to show you two other products. I might as well put this one in because it's in my hands, and then I'll show you how to apply it. So I would literally just grab that all in this ponytail from, yeah, like there downwards, like ear downwards. So all of that. And by the way, my hair is wet. It does look dry because it has dried a lot, but this is actually the perfect base. If you're gonna start applying all your products before your blow dry, this is the perfect base that you want. You actually don't want to be applying your products in soaking wet hair. Imagine like a juice or a squash. You're basically like diluting down the product. So to apply your products in damp hair, just slightly damp, is actually perfect. So my hair is probably about 80% dry, and it's only like 20% level damp. And obviously with applying these products, we are technically then kind of dampening it down further as well. So you can see how I've applied that into my hair. Then I would literally just grab a brush. I'm going to use my Manta detangling brush. I absolutely love this one. And this is literally just going to make sure all of that product is just distributed nice and evenly throughout the hair, and we don't kind of have any patches where there's kind of product focus really just in one area, because if that is the case, then when you dry it in, it might just feel a bit too overloaded with product in like that particular area. So just give your hair a nice little gentle detangle, and then we're spreading the product just evenly throughout. So that is the Virtue Flourish Cream, and actually what I love most about this one as well, it does contain your heat protection in. I've not popped anything in my hair prior to this. It's almost acting as like that, a priming product as well, and just coating the strands, and that's also why it's important to brush it through, because you want to make sure you're brushing through and coating each strand with actually the heat protection. So yeah, it actually says on here, plumps, volumizes, and protects. So I don't know anyone who would dislike this product, and if you have fine hair or less hair than me, I would just apply less in the palm of your hand. You can see how it's kind of just soaked in quite nicely into my hair. Next up, we have a Schwarzkopf Mousses product. So this one is from the Volume and Body range from Mousses, and it's called Upload. It's the Bodifying cream. So yeah, we're still on kind of the Bodifying creams category, but this one I would say, compared to Virtue Flourish, which was, I didn't really talk about the texture, that's kind of more balmy, I would say, whereas this one, you can probably see already in the bottle, this is just a little bit more lightweight and runny, and it comes out in a nice pump action. But you can actually see I would describe this one as like a gel cream, quite a nice lightweight cream. So this one is also going to just plump up those mid-lengths and ends, add a bit more body and volume. And of course, yeah, this one, it says you can blow dry, and this also protects from heat. This one protects from heat up to 230 degrees Celsius, so super high, or if you're in Fahrenheit, that's 450 degrees Fahrenheit. And this also says you can air dry this one, so quite nice if you have got wavy or naturally curly hair and you just prefer to do a bit of an air dry, but you kind of feel like your hair goes a bit flat and a bit scraggly on the ends. That one is just a little bit more of a lightweight fluid. And then we have from the Living Proof Full range, this is their Thickening Blow Dry Cream. I really like just the bottle this comes in. It's just so cute. So this one, I'll show you the texture and consistency of this one. This is, I guess it's more similar in texture and consistency to the Schwarzkopf Mousses, but slightly, ever so slightly more creamy, I would say. So whereas the Schwarzkopf Mousses almost turned a bit more gel-like, this is just quite a nice lightweight cream. And the smell of this one, oh my god, I just got such a familiar smell. It smells a bit, ever so slightly like sherbet, but very subtle, like really, really nice. So again, I think this one is great for finer hair types, for bobs. I think you're really gonna like this one, and it's already just soaking in really nicely into my hands. Just quite a nice lightweight cream. And actually this also does protect from heat. It says with heat protection. It doesn't say on the bottle exactly up to what temperature. Normally when any product does say contains heat protection, they have to actually be tested in the lab for how high that heat is. So normally the kind of the figures around that, that's why so many products on the back, they do say up to 230. It's normally quite a high number, or 220. They have to kind of be able to test up to that to be able to provide that claim that it contains heat protection. This is where I would start. So I would start off with your cream, because not only is it adding the body and the width and plumping up your ends, but it is also priming and protecting. And literally everything I'm going to show you guys today, I will link down below in the description box, and I'll break it up in the description box also into kind of the categories we're going to talk about and the order in which I've shown you the products, so it'll be easier for you guys to find. If you are someone who would much prefer a spray in their hair rather than a cream, even though absolutely, as I've said, those creams I think are fantastic for fine hair, but I guess maybe it's just personal preference sometimes. If you just prefer the idea of just spraying it throughout, then I'm just going to show you the Volumising Bodifying sprays. So again, we're still focusing on kind of the main body of the hair. We're not moving on to the roots just yet. Starting off with the Pureology, this is the Instant Levitation Mist. So it is a volume mist for colour treated hair. I mean, to be completely honest, I would say all of these are fine for coloured hair, but if a brand's going to call it out, I guess that's just a marketing thing. I'd say all of these are amazing for coloured hair. All of Pureology products are specifically 100% vegan, so if you are vegan, that's like a really nice selling point. And let me just show you the consistency of this one. Super, super lightweight. So it smells amazing. What does it smell of? Again, it smells quite familiar. That kind of smells a bit sherbety. Let me spray it on my hand so you can see the consistency of that. Very watery, which is a great thing because that is just super fine and super lightweight on the hair. It's not going to make the hair heavy, or actually I tell you what, I can actually smell the alcohol in that, which is not a bad thing. It's, I mean, a good thing in a way. Most of these products which are designed to give your hair more volume and more kind of oomph, pretty much all of them them are gonna have alcohol in, because that's kind of how it does that to the hair. It almost like slightly, I mean, this is gonna sound bad when I say it, but it slightly dehydrates the hair to kind of give it that nice plumpness and fullness. So yeah, most of these are going to have alcohol in, but that's not a bad thing. It's just super important that we are still nourishing and protecting the hair. So that is why I do like to go in with a cream. I do always, even though I'm going for volume and body, I still will always apply an oil as well, but I just won't touch on oils in this video because oil is just going to nourish. It won't give us the volume and the body and the bounce. So yeah, that is just one of my favorites that I've tried and tested. Super lightweight, and you would just spray this just throughout your hair. Let me show you the next one and then I'll show you how to apply. So next product, this is the Kevin Murphy Body Mass. This is a leave-in plumping treatment. It doesn't say it protects from heat on the back. Actually, did that one say it protected from heat? Doesn't say it on the back. We're starting to move on now to like hair styling, whereas I guess the other creams that I'm called out before, they kind of slightly fall under hair care as well, because they're like protecting and nourishing, whereas these are specifically, I guess, more for just the styling benefit. This is, yeah, going to plump up your hair, and again, I'll show you, it just comes out super lightweight, the spray. I'll show you the consistency on my hand. Again, very, very similar consistency to that previous product, just watery, which is what you want. Watery, lightweight, and again, yeah, I can smell the alcohol in that product. I would also say, just to preface, because I am going to apply this in just to show you how to apply, but you wouldn't need to apply one of these kind of thickening, plumping sprays if you've already gone in with a cream. I would say it's kind of one or the other based on personal preference. But if you are going to apply a spray, what I always do is section the hair. I just use my fingers. I'll always take like level of the top of my ear for the first section, and you just want to spray evenly in kind of chunky big sections. So 1, 2, 3. Depending on how long your hair is. If you've got like a bob, you might just do 1, 2. Then I'll take the next section up like a couple of inches up. 1, 2, 3. Next section up. 1, 2, 3. So I've worked up one side of my head and I've kind of taken 4 rows. 1, 2, 3. You can see I'm very much so working on the hair, not the roots. We're gonna have something else go in the roots, as you've probably guessed that already. I'll just do the same on this side, so at least I'm gonna be even. 1, 2, 3. Nice big section. I'm almost out of this actually. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So now I'm nice, and I want to do one extra little spray on the very ends there. You wouldn't need to do spray and a cream, but on the other hand, I mean, just like I've done, you absolutely could if you want to. If you've got more porous hair that soaks up a lot of product, a bit like my hair, there's no stopping you basically. So yeah, that one, I do really like that one, the Kevin Murphy. And then lastly, we have got, as you can probably recognize the packaging, it's the Schwarzkopf Osis range again from the Volume and Body collection. And this is effectively, I would literally just say it's like the spray version of this I just showed you before. And as you can see by the actual liquid inside, very similar kind of liquid, like a clear, watery spray. Spray it on my hands so I can show you the consistency. All these products are so similar in consistency and in what you're actually getting. Actually, I didn't really smell the alcohol level. That one actually smells quite like a hairspray, that alcohol-y hairspray smell. So again, yeah, spray that in like the others. This one actually does tell us that it does protect from heat. Again, protects from heat up to 230 degrees Celsius, 450 degrees Fahrenheit. So again, that's quite a nice one to prep and prime as well. So yeah, these are your volumizing, bodifying sprays, still designed to kind of like spray mid-lengths and ends, but just quite a nice, super lightweight option if you would prefer a spray over a cream. Now let's get something into the roots. We are moving on to our root lift volumizing sprays. So these products are literally designed to go like right in at the root. Do you know what? I'll start off with my all-time favorite. This is a product that you definitely would have seen if you do regularly watch my YouTube videos. I use this so much. This is my favorite. It's the Maria Neela Volume Spray. It is just chef's kiss. It's so lightweight. I have actually got 4 products to show you here. The next 3 that I'm going to show you come out kind of a bit more saturated and a bit more wet, whereas what I love about this, it is still wet product, but it comes out more like a hairspray. So I love how it like disperses so fine and so evenly throughout the hair. Shall I apply this one? This is my absolute favorite. I love the smell of this product as well. And I think so many other people would love the smell of this. It's quite sweet. but not overly sickly sweet, just like a nice little sweet. The great thing with Maria Neela products as well, these are also 100% vegan, so great option if you personally love to just choose vegan products, and also very good for not testing on animals throughout the globe. They have their kind of PETA and Globe. They've got the Leaping Bunny seal of approval, so that means they don't test on animals anywhere in the world. Whereas, just for those of you who don't know, quite a lot of these won't technically test on animals, especially not here in the UK and in certain countries, but they won't be able to get the seal of approval, the Leaping Bunny seal of approval, if they sell into Asia, unfortunately, especially China, because China has got its own rules that anything they're receiving, whether it's like most products, let's say they come from the US, or a lot of products are manufactured in Germany, if they get shipped over to China, China legally still has to test them, which is just real shame. So then they can't have the Leaping Bunny seal of approval. So yeah, I won't apply this one in my hair, only because I use this in so many of my YouTube videos, and you might have seen it already how I apply it. So I'll show you on the next product that I'm going to use how you would apply a root lift spray. Next one up, this is the K18. This is the Astrolift Reparative Volume Spray. This only came out recently, maybe it was just earlier this year, and I was unsure how I was going to feel about this, because those of you who may know, K18 is known for just being like a super repairing product. It makes the hair just stronger, healthier, shinier. It's just repairs the product and makes the hair feel and look amazing. So I was like, unusual they're kind of bringing out a styling product rather than hair care that's going to give you lift. And I was unsure how it was going to perform, but wow, this stuff is really great. And I think the name Astrolift kind of says it all. It's like your hair is about to take off. So let me show you how I would apply this, but literally kind of just as we've applied that previous product, but we're literally just focusing on the roots here. So again, I'll take my first section, probably take it a bit more narrow, because we really want to focus on the roots all over. So again, I'm just sectioning with my fingers. Always give your products a good shake as well before you spray them and before you use them. And then we're going to go in, probably, I like to start off about that far away. How far is that? Probably 6 inches, I would say. So let's do 1, 2, 3, but then I don't spray only just directly on the roots. I kind of do 3 inches down from the root as well, because that's where you're going to get like the body and the volume. I kind of do directly on the roots, 6 inches away, and then just that little kind of few inches down. Then I'll kind of start spacing out my hand a bit further away. If that makes any sense to how I've described that. Let me just repeat it and I'll show you what I mean. Yeah, this smells amazing. This smells quite sweet actually, but again, not like in an overly, not like in a sickly way. So right at the roots, 1, 2, 3. And then I'll just do 1, 2, just a little bit further down. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And then definitely on these top sections, I like to go like really underneath there and also on top. I would actually say specifically these root spray, they might not be for everyone. So I will say anytime I spray in a root spray, definitely this one, not this one. I would say this is super lightweight, but we have got to bear in mind anytime we are applying these volumizing products, and especially as I mentioned, a lot of them do contain alcohol, so it slightly kind of dehydrates your hair, but we do have to bear in mind the hair is not gonna be silky, soft, kind of gliding your fingers through it, because obviously we don't want it to be like that. If your hair is so silky soft, that's when it doesn't really have much volume to it. So the one thing I will say with these volume sprays, if you're then like running your fingers through the roots as the day goes on or the next day, that you will be able to feel a little bit of tugginess, shall I say, and that is just completely normal. That's just gonna happen if you're applying volumizing products into the root. That is gonna happen. Essentially, it just makes the hair, kind of the alcohol in the hair, it makes the hair expand slightly, dehydrates, and I guess it slightly kind of locks together your hairs in a way. Instead of being super silky and soft and they're just slipping around and slipping off each other, they're sort of locked in together. So yeah, that's just completely normal. I do just want to set up your expectations, guys, because there are some people, of course, and a lot of clients who will then say, oh, I just hate the feeling of product in my hair. You kind of need to accept there's going to be a little feeling there if you are after volume. So then sprayed all throughout my hair, I'm literally just going to grab my fingers and I'm going to give my head a nice little massage just to spread that all around. Next up, we have the Redken Volume Boost. This is a product that I've used for years. Like when I was working in the salon and doing clients like full-time, we used to work with Redken products then. Something I would just always pick up if my client asked for like a volume bouncy blow dry. This would just be like a go-to product, and it's just obviously slightly changed. I think it might have even changed name since then. It's definitely changed packaging slightly, but it always had this really nice applicator nozzle, which I do like. This applicator nozzle is great just for really targeting the root area. So let me just show you how it comes out. So quite watery, they're literally all dripping down my sleeve. You can see there's a slight bubble and milkiness to this one almost. You see that? Yeah, slightly more milky than watery. Do you know what? That has got, I don't think I've ever really smelt this close up because you wouldn't normally spray these products into your hand, you just spray directly into the root. That's got a really, really nice smell. It smells almost like a mojito. It smells like a mojito, like cucumbery, mint, and actually I can't smell any alcohol in that. So it probably has got alcohol in, but it's quite nice when you just can't overly smell the alcohol. So yeah, I love that one. Then we have got the Colour Wow Raise the Root. This is one of the products I'd probably use if I needed the hair like big. So say if I was doing someone who was maybe going down a red carpet or a photo shoot or something like that, and you really needed that volume basically. All of these are quite watery sprays. I'll show you, and this is just the applicator nozzle, just a standard spray nozzle. Let me show you how this one comes out. Oh, why is my pump not wanting to work now? This has happened to quite a few products of mine lately. The pump just decides to stop working, and sometimes a fix to that is you just want to unscrew it slightly, just check there aren't any blockages, just do a good few sprays just out of the bottle. I don't think it's gonna work, guys. No. What I do sometimes do in that case, obviously I do not want to waste so much product, so I will literally just change or take off one of these sprays from one of the others and then just pop it on here just so I can then use the product, which is a shame because then I can't really show you how it sprays out. But yeah, I can just show you the consistency of the product. Very similar to the Redken one actually in terms of consistency. It is watery, but it's just slightly milkier, and you've kind of got those little, almost those little bubbles that you can see again. Really interesting. The smell is very similar to the Redken as well. Slightly, it's a nice little fresh mojito smell. So all of these are root lift sprays that go directly into the roots before you're blow drying, and they're specifically styling products to give you that volume. Even if you don't want to use any of the other two categories I've showed you before, like the thickening or plumping cream or kind of the plumping sprays, if you don't want to use those, you can't just use this on its own and expect like your heat protection and your care factor. I definitely recommend going in before that and applying something else which is going to prime and protect your hair. Kind of line them up here in terms of how strong I think each of these is, starting with the lightest. I would definitely say the lightest is the Marinela volume spray, and that's why I use it and recommend it so much, because I honestly don't know anyone who would dislike this product. Then I'd say this one is just slightly stronger, slightly, but still super lightweight, great for all hair types. This one gives incredible volumizing benefits, and it is definitely stronger, I would say, so really ideal if you're going for really big bounce. And then this one, I think this is why a lot of professional hairstylists use this one, the Colour Wow Raise the Root, because it is very strong. Out of all of these, it's very strong, and I would say for some consumers just using like a root lift spray at home, not everyone might want it that strong. It could on some hair types maybe just be a bit too much and kind of be slightly too sticky. Maybe. I'm not saying it's sticky. I just want to give you guys all of the details I can, and I do know just for some people that just might be too much for them almost, but absolutely amazing at giving you mega volume. So we have primed the hair, we've protected the hair, we've got that root lifting, which is actually going to give us the volume right at the root. Now we are going in, as you can see, I've got a whole new basket here. These are my mousses. So I'm going to show you which of my mousses are my favorites. I've got 4 mousses that I'm going to show you. I was trying to stick to 3 for each category, but honestly, I can't decide. And I was like, I feel like we need 4 in this category. So this is probably one of my favorites out of the 4 I'm going to show you. This is again the Schwarzkopf Osis. It's from their Volume and Body range. It's called the Air Whip. Super lightweight. A lot of these I'm going to show you, 3 of them at least, are just very, very super lightweight. And the reason why I love a super lightweight mousse is because you can just build it up. You can apply so much into there. And because I guess I've already gone in with 3 other products, I'm not at this point where I need a super heavy mousse that's also going to be sticky for my hair. But bear in mind, mousses have changed a lot. Like, I do get a lot of questions. Some people might be like, oh, you're using a mousse. But mousses have changed so much since you might have first used one 10 years ago maybe, or even prior to that, before 10 years ago, say 15, 20 years ago, they were so different and they were all quite sticky and tacky, and because the hair was just very different there, we kind of didn't want the hair to move. These mousses are so different. You can still run your hands through it. The hair is still movable and it's still free and flexible. So yeah, this is just a super lightweight mousse. I'll give it any mousse, give it a very, very good shake before you're going to apply, and then you want to hold the can completely upside down because you don't want any air gaps in here. Like, a mousse is not going to come out if you're trying to spray it that way. It needs to be completely upside down. And then I'm going to spray a good old dollop into your hand. And you might be thinking, oh, that's a lot of product, but honestly, the main thing you need to remember about a mousse, it's so full of air. So the last thing I would do at this point is clap my hands together, because it's literally going to disappear. So that's also why you shouldn't be scared applying mousse. So much of that is just air. It's literally bubbles. It looks like there's a lot of product because it's just so big and foamy, but it is literally bubbles in your hand. Do you know what? I might not put this one in today. I'll show you the Redken one and I'll pop that one in next, because I do also really like that one. I'm just fancying that one today. I'd just like to switch it up. Let me wash my hands. So here is the Redken one. This is the Touchable Texture. I swear it's changed name. So again, this is a product I've used for years in the salon. I used to always put this in pretty much on every client, I'd say, because who goes to the salon and doesn't just want their hair to just have that lovely lightweight bit of volume? Even if you're kind of doing a smooth blow dry, you still want that kind of really nice lightweight volume. I swear this used to be called Volumizing Whip rather than Touchable Texture, because even down here it says Touch Control Volumizing Texture Whip. A really, really nice lightweight spray again. This one comes out with a very, very direct nozzle, as you can see. More like a root lift spray nozzle. Actually, that's something I did forget to mention. Any mousse, you can apply it into roots as well as mid-lengths and ends. So if you don't have or don't want a volumizing spray like the ones we just covered before, you can absolutely just buy a mousse and apply it into the roots and the mid-lengths and ends. I won't apply this into the roots, obviously, because we've already got the root lift spray in the roots. So when I do like to do my mousses, I do just like to focus again on that ponytail section, kind of like the mid-lengths and ends, the ponytail section. But it's quite nice. This one has got your focused nozzle, because that's quite good at actually just being able to apply direct into the roots. I'll show you what this one looks like. They're all gonna... Ah! That has sprayed all over my camera lens. Hang on. Let's give you a little wipe. Okay, sorry guys. Hopefully that has not left you looking a bit blurry. So yeah, that's the only thing with this I find. I think when I was using this in the salon, I don't think it had that nozzle. I think it was a traditional mousse nozzle. Now, I guess they've designed it, you can literally just spray it directly onto your hair. But let me just stand further back so I'm not going to mess up my camera. So I do still just want to show you it. There we go. Right. So this one, if you are going to spray it into your hands, it's actually best to actually just keep it the right way up. I'm going to spray it into my hands just so you can see it is literally the same nice mousse, lightweight texture, very cloud-like. But as you can see, compared to the Air Whip, almost the longer I leave the Air Whip in my hands, that starts to go a bit watery. Why I love this one, and this is what I remember about using it in the salon, it stays so nice and full and cloud-like in your hand, like it's not starting to separate and go watery just yet. I really like this one. I'm just going to separate that into my hands into two. Honestly, it feels like I'm holding like marshmallows in my hand. But I personally prefer, even though they've changed the nozzle now and you spray it directly into the hair, I do prefer to still do it like this, because that's just a traditional way for me to apply mousse, and I definitely feel like you make less mess. Even if you're spraying it directly onto the hair, I find like I get it all over my mirror, then I have to clean the mirror. That's why I like to do kind of separate into two hands. You're going to use one hand on one whole side and then the other hand on the other side, and you can also see just how much like a mousse kind of further wets down your hair as well. So that is the Redken Touchable Texture. Another super lightweight mousse that I really enjoy is the Pureology Weightless Volume Mousse. Again, 100% vegan, as I've mentioned with all of the Pureology products. When this first came out, I was like, oh, I think I'm gonna like this one, because yeah, weightless volume mousse, it sounds basically like the two favorite mousses, the Redken and then the Schwarzkopf that I had already. So I was like, oh, that sounds like it's gonna be a bit of that, and it really is. It is just really nice and lightweight. So I'll show you again. It's a good shake. Show you in my hands what that comes out like. Really nice, and again, I'd actually say this is quite similar to the Redken one. Very cloud-like, and it doesn't really start getting too watery or start separating too soon. Really like that one. Other two haven't had too strong a smell so far, but this smells quite soapy, almost like you've come out of a nice fresh bath. Next, moving on to Maria Neela. This is the Pure Volume Mousse. This is, I'd say, just ever so slightly moved up in terms of hold factor. So if you do want a mousse that's going to give you just a little bit more grip, it's just a little bit more hold factor, I would say this is it. But again, still super lightweight, and it doesn't make the hair feel sticky or heavy or anything like that. So that's the texture, the consistency, and I would actually say, yeah, this one is slightly more, a bit like the Schwarzkopf one. It's almost starting to separate a bit more quickly. So as you can see, it's almost like sinking into my hands, whereas the Pureology and the Redken stay quite nice and cloud-like and fluffy for longer. There's not an issue with it separating quicker and kind of absorbing in more like this. I guess it kind of tells you the product's slightly more watery, which is good in a way, because you know if it's nice and watery, it's not going to be sticky or kind of weigh the hair down or be too heavy for the hair. But you can see how it's literally just sinking in. But that's why as soon as you've sprayed any mousse, I'd say all mousses, into the hands, just get it into the hair kind of just as quick as possible whilst it's still got all that nice airy volume in. And I don't know if I mentioned this before, but as I was talking about the Pureology products as well being 100% vegan and all cruelty free, that's the exact same with Maria Neela products as well. And lastly, in my mousse category, we have the Colour Wow Extra Large Bombshell Volumizer. And again, this is definitely, I guess, the strongest out of all of these. Let me line them up now in terms of how I feel they are in terms of the strongness. So hard between these three, Schwarzkopf, Redken and Pureology, all quite similar, really nice and lightweight, but let's say they're all quite equal. Then you've just got this one, Maria Neela, just slightly a bit stronger. And then this, I would say, is the strongest. That's what, again, like professionals love to use Colour Wow, especially if, yeah, you've got a client, the hair needs to stay all day, a red carpet client, you're doing a shoot. And this is actually, even though it's in my mousse category, it's technically like a volumizing foam. So I give it a good shake and then you actually just pump it into the hands. You can see it's actually a bit of a different texture. It is not as big and as cloud-like as a mousse. It's more of a foam, and with that obviously it's a bit more watery, runny, it spreads, I guess, slightly easier through the hair. You would actually think, because it's kind of like more watery, oh, that wouldn't have as much hold as like a big fluffy mousse. Actually, it's quite strong. I would say for some of you, again, similar to how I described the previous Colour Wow products, I mean, they've designed to work so good and so effectively, which is great, but I just know some of you that might be almost slightly too much on the hair. So sometimes when I do blow dry this in, the results are incredible, but as I'm blow drying a brush through, especially if I'm doing like a round brush blow dry, you would start to feel it. I don't want to say tuggy because that makes it sound bad, but like, you know, you've got that product for hold and for grip in there. But yeah, it works fantastically well. Super important, because actually I can now feel, now that I've applied that mousse into my hair is starting to like dry and set in that position. So just make sure you get your detangling brush through all the hair again, just so again, yeah, you're not having any mousse kind of sit in one concentrated area. You want it spread all evenly throughout the hair. So now I have literally just got to blow dry and style my hair. I will come back and show you the finished result with all those products blow dried in. So this is the final result, guys, after blow drying and styling all of those products into the hair. As you can see, I mean, we have got mega volume and width. What I call the kind of volume when it comes outwards as like the width and the body. And then I always call kind of like more root volume up here, the volume. So you can see we've kind of got a bit of everything going on. Like, I've definitely got root volume coming back here. You can literally see if I turn my head to the side, you can see the root volume coming back here, whereas this bit is just really quite flat where my bangs are. And then yeah, just so much body and volume, and the ends look nice and full and thick. They're not looking scraggly. That's the combination of all those products, and it's not too much either. But also at the same time, as I was mentioning earlier, it's not my usual kind of super soft and silky, and I'm running my hands through it and I'm thinking, oh my god, it's gorgeously soft and silky, as if I'd applied loads of oil through. It's not like that. So it's just that perfect in between. If you want the volume and the body and the bounce, you are absolutely going to get it with all these products. But yeah, there's just that element of it's going to feel slightly, it's obviously going to feel like you've got a bit of product in there, which is completely normal, but as you can see, like, I can still run my hands through it. And I have also just done a little touch of oil into the ends, as I normally would do anyway as I finished my style, just to add a little bit of nourishment back to the ends. But yeah, that is it, guys. I hope you've managed to take away quite a few tips from this video to do with achieving root volume, to do with achieving volume and body on the mid-lengths and ends, how to apply products, in which sequence to apply the products, and also just which products are best. And hopefully I've given you an idea of, yeah, which products will be great for you and your hair type. As I mentioned, I've linked everything down below in the description box. They'll be linked in order of what I showed you them. And as usual, if you like this video, if you learned anything new, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up below, and make sure you subscribe, because I post videos like this every single week. And if you do subscribe, I'll be seeing you next week for another one of my hair videos. Bye guys, have an amazing rest of your day.